Hey guys, welcome to Selective Preparation Power Mathematical Reasoning for Test 28. We're just going to go through some questions today as well, so let's just jump straight in. Question 1. A 750 seat multiplex is divided into 3 theaters. There are 240 seats in Theater 1, and there are 180 more seats in Theater 2 than in Theater 3. How many seats are in Theater 2? Now, it might seem difficult at first, but let's just try to understand the question. So, we know that in T1 or Theater 1, there's 240 seats, right? So, from 750 seats, which is the total, if we subtract the number of seats in Theater 1, which is 240, we get 510. And actually, this 510 represents what? Theater 2 plus Theater 3. Now, we have a problem here, and that is that they don't have the equal amount of seats. Because why? Theater 2 has 180 more seats than Theater 3. So the one way we can do this is 510 minus 180. Because if you think about it, if the difference between these two is 180, right? If T2 equals to T3 plus 180, if I subtract this 180 from 510, it actually means that T2 and T3 for the moment have equal amount of seats, right? And so if they have equal amount of seats, this must mean that whatever number we get, and we get 330, this number we get, if we divide 330 by 2, we actually get T2 and T3 as equal value. Because remember, T2 used to be 180 more than T3, but since we minus the 180 from the 510, we should get an equal value number of T2 and T3. So we find this out. 6 to 5. So 165 is however much T2 and T3 have. But now that we subtracted 180, we have to add it back, remember? So 165 must be the T3, right? Because there's the lesser is T3. And so T2 must have 165 plus 180, which is 345. Okay? So, just to explain again, because we know that T2 was equal to T3 plus 180, if I subtracted 180 from the 510, right, I will mean that T2 is equal to T3. And if T2 is equal to T3, then this must signify 2 of T, actually, let me do it this way. 2T2 or 2T3, okay? But what's the issue here? After we found T2 or T3, right? We realize that T3 actually has 180. Oh no, this has to be T2. This must be, okay, like that. So after we found 165, we realized, well, T3 actually in reality has 180 more. So that's why we added T2 plus 180 to get 345. And that's why the option is D. Okay. Okay, let's move on. So question 2. The radius of the circle below is 3.5 centimeters. Assume pi is 3.14. Find the perimeter of the shaded area if it's a quarter of the whole circle. Now, the first mistake that you might have done here is read perimeter as area, right? Or perhaps even just circumference, okay? And as we know, this is wrong. We shouldn't do that. We should not do that. That is wrong, okay? Because it asks for the perimeter. So let's actually find what it's asking for. So first of all, what do we know circumference to be? Circumference of a circle, it's 2 pi r, right? And why am I trying to find the circumference of the circle? Because we realize this shaded area has a quarter of a circumference there. Okay, so first we find that means that a quarter of 2 pi r must be what we're looking for. Okay, so a quarter times 2 pi r is actually half pi r. And what is r? R in this instance is 3.5. Okay, and so 3.5 over 2 is 1.75 pi. Okay, and so after that, this is our length of the quarter circumference. Next, we have the two sides here, one here and the other one here, and we know each of them is 3.5 centimeters because the question says so. So we do 2 times 3.5, which equals to 7. Okay, so therefore the perimeter, or P, equals to 1.75 pi plus 7.0. So let's work this out now. Assuming that, let me just rub this out. Assuming that pi is 3.14 and we've got 1.75, let's just do 175 times 314. Okay, 22. Remember, I've just taken the decimals out here. 4, 7, 5, 7, 1, 15, 1, 21, 22, 2, 3, 5. Okay, so we do that. We get 0, 5, 14, 19, 1, 4, and 5. And remember, since we took 4 decimal places out, we put 4 decimal places back in. So we get 5.4950 plus 7.0, and that must give us 12.495. Okay, and that only corresponds to option A. All right, let's move on. Question 3. Robert has won 20% more word quiz matches than Nicole, while Nicole has won 25% word quiz matches than Brooke. By what percentage does the number that Robert won exceed the number that Brooke has won? Okay, Robert and Brooke. Okay, if we know that R equals to 20%, actually, let's not do it this way. If we know Robert has won 20% more than Nicole, it's actually not 20% of Nicole, is it? Because remember, 20% of Nicole will be less than Nicole. We want 1 of Nicole plus the 20% on top of that, right? So we denote this by saying 120% of Nicole. Okay? Because remember, guys, 100% of 100% of Nicole is Nicole, right? So 120% means that it will be 20% more of Nicole, right? So it's n plus 20% of Nicole. Okay? So anyways, hopefully that makes sense. 120% of Nicole, whilst Nicole has won how much? 25%, so 125% more than Brooke. Now, here I'm just going to let Brooke equal to 1, okay? Mainly because I'm just concerned about the proportion or the percentage that we're given here, okay? So I'm allowed to say that Brooke is 1, because let's just say Brooke won one match, then 125. We don't actually have to find out what 125% of 1 is, guys. That's the most important part. Okay, so if Nicole is 125%, therefore, then we can sub it into the original equation we had. Remember, because R equals to 125% of Nicole. Then we're trying to find out, well, how much is Brooke? How much is it more than Brooke? Okay, so we do that. 120% of 125, or 125% of 120. And let's calculate that. If 125% of 120, remember it's going to be 120% plus, because remember this is divided into 100% plus 25%. So if that's the case, 100% of 120% is 120%. What's 25% of 120%? That's a quarter, right? A quarter of 120 is 30%. So we get 150%. So this shows that Brooke Robert has won more than Brooke by not 150%, but actually 50%. Because remember, 150% again of Brooke means Brooke plus the 50%. Because Brooke represents what? 100% of himself. Okay? So the only number we're looking at is this 50%. So therefore, our option is C. Alright guys, welcome to the next question. So, a bag contains some marbles, all the same size. 8 of them are blue, the rest are yellow. The probability of drawing a yellow marble from the bag is 3 out of 5. What is the total number of yellow marbles in the bag? Okay, let's draw the situation. Let's choose a nice yellow that we can all see. Hopefully that one you can see. Alright, so if we have a little bag, right? And we have 8 blue marbles. Let's change this to blue. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And we have a mystery amount of yellow. So I'm just going to draw like that because we don't know how much there are. So, but we do know, we have to work with what we know. So let's go on to the question. 8 of them are blue. And we also know that the chance of drawing the yellow from the bag is 3 out of 5. Okay? But remember, when we're dealing with fractions like these, we always need to know the total amount. We should be concerned about total number of marbles. Okay? We should be concerned with this because after we find this out, we can just times the total number of marbles by 3 out of 5 and then just get our yellow marble. But the question remains, how do we find the total number of marbles? Well, if we know 8 of them are blue, right? But we also know that 8 of them happens to be 2 out of 5. Do you see what I did there? If the probability of drawing a yellow marble is 3 out of 5, then probability of drawing a blue marble must be 2 out of 5, okay? And so if it's 2 out of 5, 2 out of 5 corresponds to 8, then 1 out of the 5 marbles, and remember this is talking in fraction, is going to be 4. And why did I do that? So I can times 5 on both sides to get the total number of marbles. Because 5 out of 5, guys, always refers to one whole, or 100% of the marbles, or all of the marbles. So and now that we found all of the marbles, right, which is 20, we can just do 20 times 3 over 5 because that's how many yellow marbles there should be, which is 12. Okay? And that is our answer. A. Alright, question 5. On Sunday last week, Annabelle started to learn Japanese language. Every day she learnt 5 new words, but when she woke up every morning, she had forgotten 2 of the words learnt the day before. When did Annabelle first achieve her target of learning 20 words? Now, we have to think carefully about this because actually on Sunday, right, how many words did she learn? If you said 5, you are correct. On Sunday, she learned 5. Why? Because she didn't wake up she only started on Sunday, right? So she would only start to lose or forget the 2 words on Monday, or starting from Monday. Okay? How about Monday? How many words does she learn then in total? Well, she learns 5 also, but because she woke up that morning, she loses 3. Right? Oh, 2. Meaning that in net or total, she only learns 3 words. How about Tuesday? Yeah? She learns 5. Okay? She learns 5, but she also again loses 2, so we get 3. So can you guys see this pattern? So it means that except for the very first day, she's only going to learn 3 days in total, 3 words in total each day. Meaning that what can we do? If she wants to learn 20 words, if I subtract the first day, divide minus 5, 15, and divide it by 3, I should get the total number of days that it takes for her to learn 20 20 words, right? Because I subtracted the 5 because that's the odd one out from the pattern. If I subtract that, if I divide the remaining by 3, I should get 5 words, 5 days, right? From the initial Sunday, right? 5 days initially from Sunday is Friday. Okay, and that's why we get D, right? So just to recap, the reason I did that, 20 minus 5, was to get rid of the original 5 that wasn't part of the 3 plus 3 plus 3 pattern, okay? If after subtracting the 5, I divide by 3, I'm able to find out how many more days from Sunday I need in order to learn the extra 15 words, okay? All right, let's move on to the key points from this test. Percentage is a portion of something that displays a relationship between two values. Okay? I want to read that carefully again. Percentage is a portion of something, right? If we say 20% of something, it's a portion of it. And percentages also display a relationship between two values. And where do I get that from and what do I mean? If I look at this question, Nicole and Brooke, right? And Robert, remember how I said that we didn't actually have to find out what this is. We don't have to find out. We don't have to find out what 125% of 1% is. We can, and we can still find the answer that way, but we don't have to find it. Why? Because 125% of 120% refers to a relationship between two values. And these two values in this question happen to be Robert and Brooke. Okay? So we can actually find the relationship between these two boys by percentages. Purely by percentages. And not, we don't have to find true values of anything. Okay? That's what I mean by what percentage is. And point number 2, always have 1 minus fraction in the back of your mind. And remember, I mentioned 1 minus fractions a week back or a couple weeks back. And the reason I'm asking you to always have that in the back of your head is because of these questions. Like, if yellow marbles were 3 out of 5, then blue marbles must be 2 out of 5, or 1 minus 3 out of 5. Okay? Which was 2 out of 5. And always have this in the back of your mind, because there are questions like these that asks for or utilizes the fact that there's the other half, or the other color, or blue, right? If I can think of another example, it would be students, right? There's always a class that asks if there's 5 students in the class of 30 with blue hair, what fraction of them don't have blue hair, right? We would do 5 over 30, which is 1 over 6. If 1 over 6 is the fraction with blue hair, then the fraction that doesn't have blue hair must be 1 minus 1 over 6, which happens to be 5 over 6, okay? So in that manner, we can find out these sort of questions. And final point, identify a pattern as much as you can. And I draw this from this question. Why? Because, right, after I identified that from Monday onwards, I'm always going to have 3, I can simply minus the 5 from 20 and divide the 3 to see how many days it would take to learn 15 words extra, right? And instead of counting in my head, I can just find a pattern like this and use mathematical reasoning to solve the question. Okay? And that is it